Chapter 1. The day I landed in London. The sky was as gray as the bouquet of white roses in my hand, his favorite. I planned to surprise him. Stuff the flowers into his arms. Watch him pretend to be delighted. And then drag me inside to make hot cocoa. I booked the flight 3 days earlier and didn't tell him. He said he was busy with classes and papers. But we hadn't seen each other for 6 months. As his fiance, surprising him didn't feel like crossing a line. Standing in front of his rental house with my suitcase, my heart pounded like a drum. I texted him and waited 10 minutes, no reply. I had no choice but to ring the doorbell myself. The door opened. A woman wearing a white tank top, hair still wet, barefoot on the carpet, looked startled. "Who are you looking for?" I tightened my lips and raised my phone. "I'm looking for Michael. I'm his. Babe, your milk is ready. Want some honey in it?" That familiar voice came from the kitchen. I laughed. Not out of joy, but because that word, babe, paired with the woman's guilty eyes, was downright ridiculous. She instinctively stepped back. I brushed past her into the house. The kitchen door was open. Michael was in sweatpants, shaking a bottle of honey. When he saw me, he froze like he'd been clubbed. "Emma? I brought you roses." I placed the bouquet on the table. "They're still warm." He looked like a kid caught stealing candy. "Why are you here all of a sudden?" "I was planning to video call you next week." "It's just." "And who is this?" I looked at the woman. She bit her lip. "I'm Sarah. Michael's roommate." "Roommates?" I feigned surprise. "You guys are close enough to share a bathroom?" Her face went pale. I sat down at the table. Casually. "Michael, how much is the rent here?" He opened his mouth but said nothing. "Oh right. The card is mine." "You've never cared about rent." "What about the lease? Is it under your name?" He turned even paler. It was dawning on him I didn't come unprepared. "Emma, let me explain. There's nothing between us. We just share milk and honey." She was feeling down. I was just comforting her. He gritted his teeth. "Living together. It's hard to avoid some contact." I chuckled. "No wonder you never comforted me." Sarah stood awkwardly by the door, looking like she might cry. "I didn't know you two were still together. He never told me you were engaged." "That's fine." I stared at her. "I know who you are." She froze. "You're the wannabe actress from Hudson Media, right? Tried out for the masquerade and didn't get the role. You even said hi to me during the audition." Her face flushed bright red. "So you knew each other back in the States?" Michael muttered. "More than that," I said calmly. "She used to subtweet me on social media, crying about how the industry was rigged. Funny how fate works." "Huh? Now you two are roomies." They both went silent, as if someone hit mute. I glanced at my watch and stood up. "You two enjoy your milk. I haven't adjusted to the time zone yet, so I'll be off." "Emma." Michael chased after me. I stopped. "Remind the landlord, I might have some lawyers checking the place for safety and utilities. It's overseas after all. Got to stay compliant." His face twisted. "What does that mean?" I enunciated each word, "Michael. The game is over." And there it was, that flicker of panic in his eyes. I wheeled my luggage into the rain. Behind me a half-open door and a woman in a tank top hiding like a skinned rat. The wind picked up on the London street. I opened my umbrella, walking steady and tall, not like someone who just caught her boyfriend cheating. I didn't cry. Didn't even bother to be angry. Because the worst part of love isn't the third party. It's realizing the person you loved wasn't worth the rage. I glanced at my phone. My return flight was scheduled for the next day at noon. Too late. I was leaving now. Chapter 2. The day I flew back to the States. I sat in a first-class window seat, expressionless as I finished a glass of champagne. When the flight attendant offered a second, I smiled politely. No. Thank you. She looked a little surprised, probably not used to seeing someone so composed with eyes that seemed to hold a storm. As the plane took off, I closed my eyes. But all I could see was the scene from yesterday, Michael emerging from the kitchen, looking so relaxed and familiar with her. That wasn't just roommates. And Sarah? She wasn't innocent either. A woman who trampled others to boost her screen test ratings and still managed to room right next to Michael? Yeah. Sure, totally a coincidence. I reached into my purse and pulled out a backup phone I'd activated just before leaving. Opened the banking app. A flurry of transaction records jumped out, credit cards, Venmo, international wire transfers, all under my name. Every single part of Michael's life had been funded by me. I tapped through the screens. Cards, frozen. Accounts, locked. A system message popped up. This account will be fully frozen within 3 hours. I closed the phone and leaned back in my seat, finally allowing myself a small, satisfied smile. Michael, let's see how long your little roommate romance lasts once the money dries up. When I landed, I hadn't even left the airport before I got a call from my assistant. Lauren. Emma. The documents you requested are all ready. Also, I've sent over a summary of all assets linked to Michael. I opened the email. Exactly as expected. The apartment? It was under my family trust. More precisely, under my father's name. I was just managing it. The car? A birthday gift from me. Even the condo his parents lived in downtown was a goodwill gift from my mother's company. Back then, my entire family had gone above and beyond to support him. All because I said we were getting engaged. Looking back, we were just so generous. About that condo, I said into the phone, have the management company issue a notice. 1 week to move out. Are you sure? They're still living there. I'm sure, I said firmly. The contract was a gift, not a transfer of ownership. And gifts can be revoked. Include this line in the notice, property reassigned for corporate restructuring. Got it. Understood. As I hung up, I wasn't thinking about revenge. I was thinking about closure. I had given Michael so much, more than any girlfriend ever should. And now? He treated it like background noise. As if it had always belonged to him. Enjoying my resources while cozying up half-naked with Sarah in a London apartment? Disgusting. I returned to my city condo, took a hot shower, and sat in front of the mirror toweling my hair. For the first time, I felt like I was truly home. The reflection staring back at me was calm, controlled, with eyes like sharpened glass. I tied my hair up, slipped into a crisp power suit, and just as I was about to leave, my phone buzzed. It was Michael. I stared at the screen until the ringtone ended. Then came a voice message through iMessage. Emma, I think something's wrong with my card. I just tried to book a flight, also. My landlord said there's a pending inspection. Are you being a little dramatic? Can't we talk? I didn't open it. Just used the text converter. The message appeared on screen. Emma, please don't be like this. Okay? I smirked and replied. Didn't you say breakups were too much of a hassle? Well, welcome to the hassle. 10 minutes later, he texted again. What do you want from me? This time, I didn't reply. Sarah joined the show soon after. She'd met me on Instagram, attaching a selfie. She wore a low-cut sweater, showing off her collarbones and plenty of skin. Captioned, women should support each other. We're just keeping each other warm. I scoffed. Then opened a video I'd secretly recorded just before leaving, the kitchen scene. Michael leaning into her. Sarah smiling up at him. The tension between them oozed from the screen. I added subtitles, late night milk not sweet enough? Try a little honey. Then posted it to my burner account. Tagged it under celebrity gossip. 30 minutes later. It blew up. Wasn't Michael supposed to be a top-tier student overseas? Now he's messing with this third-rate Instagram wannabe? Didn't this chick used to rant about evil investors? Now she's thirstier than a desert. Dude had a white rose and threw it away for a weed in a parking lot. The comments got nastier by the second. I didn't bother checking them anymore. Because I knew this was just step one. When the online hate started eating into their perfect little lives, they'd finally get a taste of rock bottom. I leaned into the couch, opened my work chat, and brought up the brand partnership project we postponed last month. It was time to remove Michael from every part of my professional life. And next, it was time to shake the one thing he prided himself on the most, his parents' so-called stability. Chapter 3. The next morning at 8 a.m. Michael texted me again. You froze all my cards? I almost couldn't swipe into the subway yesterday. Have you lost your mind? I still have papers to finish here. How am I supposed to live like this? What do you even want from me? Should I fly back and talk face to face? I scrolled through the messages while casually eating breakfast. As if I were reading the weather forecast. Fly back? He'd really leave his roommate paradise with Sarah? Before I could respond, Lauren sent me new updates. Completed all credit cards under Michael's name, including secondary cards, are now frozen. Documents concerning the condo were delivered to his parents. The property management team confirmed receipt. His mother attempted to call 3 times. All went unanswered. The legal team has been notified to keep record. I smiled and typed back. Excellent work. Michael's family had always put on airs. His mom in particular loved acting high and mighty around me. Said I was too rich. Spoiled her son. Said I was too pretty to be a good wife. Gossiped to the relatives that I had a great temper, while secretly praying I'd vanish from their lives. To her, I was just a walking ATM for her son. Never truly one of them. Well, now, even the roof over their heads was gone. Let's see how long she can keep pretending. I called the building manager. Any word from Mrs. Robinson? She called the front desk several times. Wanted to confirm the property rights. I followed your instructions, told her it's under corporate ownership due to restructuring. How'd she react? Pretty upset. Said she'd get a lawyer. I chuckled. Let her. The condo was part of a luxury complex my mother's firm developed. As an engagement gift. She promised it to the future in-laws. But my mom always saw through their act. The deed was never transferred. Just a temporary gift agreement. Legally, I had every right to take it back. My phone buzzed again. Michael couldn't get through via call. So he tried email. The subject line was painfully formal frowny face regarding frozen assets and property retrieval, requesting clarification. The body was full of polite garbage, asking for rational communication and not to undermine the emotional foundation of our relationship. I replied with 2 words, not interested. Then blocked his email address. Right after that, the doorbell rang. I opened the door and froze. Standing there was Sarah. She had traded the tank top for a flowing dress, heels, and a full face of makeup. In one hand, she held a knockoff Hermes bag. Emma, she said sweetly, voice soft as silk. Can we talk? I leaned against the doorframe and eyed her. You here to talk about your boyfriend? Or the condo? Her smile faltered, but only briefly. We're not what you think. I've always admired Michael. He was really good to me. I didn't know you two were still together when I moved in. But once you found out, you didn't exactly run away. Did you? I looked her dead in the eye. Like she was some 2-bit reality show character trying too hard. That Insta post yesterday. I said. We're just keeping each other warm. Did your PR team help with that? It read like a press release. She paled, lips trembling. Then, why did you repost it? I don't like people hiding in the dark. I smiled. You like exposure? I'm just helping you out. It finally clicked for her that her get ahead of the scandal post didn't wash away her sins. Instead, I flipped it into proof she was the side chick. She opened her mouth to say more, but I shut the door. The security guard was already walking over. I handed him a visitor slip. She's not on the list. Make sure she doesn't come back uninvited. Yes. Miss Green. Back inside. I sipped my tea and refreshed Twitter. Sure enough. Her just keeping warm post had made it to trending. Hashtag drama queen of the year. She really said just keeping warm like we're all stupid. Hashtag buy her a heater, less scandal. More BTUs. Hashtag respect-worthy ex-fiance, that clapback was lethal. I didn't reply to any of it. I let the comments cut her to pieces. She thought stepping on me would lift her up. Sorry. Sweetie, I'm not the same Mrs. Michael I used to be. This isn't just revenge. This is a message. Play games with love, and you lose everything. Especially your chance at a comeback. Chapter 4. By noon, my lawyer sent a message. Michael's parents had shown up at the property office early that morning, causing a scene. They threatened to sue over unjust eviction, insisting that a gift can't just be taken back, and even called my mother, trying to reason with her. My mother? She simply scoffed. They still keep your grandmother's ashes in that apartment, she said over the phone, cold and precise. We'll send someone to retrieve them. I don't want your grandmother spending another minute in that house. I nodded. Okay. Back then, I stayed quiet out of guilt. I didn't want to embarrass them, so my family held back too. But not anymore. I had no interest in playing nice. That afternoon, I wore a black silk blouse and walked into the office for our weekly meeting. As I stepped into the conference room, I spotted Zach Weston sitting at the head of the table, flipping through the agenda with an air of boredom. Zach. My cousin's older brother and the Weston group's heir. We'd grown up together, childhood friends, family, and now business allies. I heard you kicked the Robinsons out already, he said, raising a brow. Didn't waste any time. Online buzz is still hot. It's the perfect time to cut off any dead weight. I took the seat beside him and opened my folder. That guy really screwed up, he muttered. He actually came to my dad the other day asking for funding for some London real estate project. He what? I laughed. He's delusional. This was before you went full scorched earth. He said. He thought you were still Mrs. Robinson in waiting. Let him keep dreaming, I said. I didn't let go of him. I just realized he wasn't worth holding on to. Zach didn't push further. Instead, he reached out and gently tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. You're even more beautiful when you're calm. I ignored the compliment and looked down at the pitch deck. Let's focus. What's your take on the co-branding deal? I'm open, he said casually. If you're in, I'm in. Hell, I'll even help drag your ex-fiance's ego through the dirt. I don't need you to fight my battles, I said coolly. I want him to suffer slowly. Damn, he muttered. You're cold. No, I said, flipping to the next page. I just don't believe in leaving him with hope. There was a knock at the door. Lauren stepped in. Emma, the real estate agent confirmed your 10 a.m. appointment tomorrow. You're buying more property? Zach asked, raising an eyebrow. Don't you already have 3 places in the city? Not for me, I said, closing the file. It's for his parents. He blinked, then smirked. So you're relocating them somewhere less convenient? Exactly. It's a new development in the suburbs. 20 minutes from the nearest train station. Quiet. Good for retirement. And still under your name. I assume? Of course. No ownership rights. No choices. Just a roof. You're generous. He said, taking it back and still giving something. I don't want to be called heartless. I smiled. This way. They're not homeless. Just very aware of what they lost. Later that afternoon, Zach and I finalized the partnership. My private investment firm would co-launch a fashion line with Weston Group's luxury brand, aptly named Elon, built around the theme of independent women. The concept? A little cliché. But I knew what people would focus on. Emma Green, once Michael Robinson's fiance, was now the face of a power brand. Sarah? Just a roommate who made it to trending by sleeping her way into a lease. We weren't in the same league. That night, I scrolled through Twitter. Hashtag Michael Robinson cheating confirmed. Hashtag Michael Robinson credit frozen. Hashtag white rose to clout chaser. The trending topics rotated, but the verdict stayed the same. Didn't know Michael was such a loser until now. Sarah's plastic face can't even compete. Delusional. Roommate? Girl. Please. You're not even the main character in your own affair. The internet was brutal. It could crown you a queen and tear you down just as fast. I leaned back, watching the social media monitor. Lauren sent me a message. Sarah's PR team reached out, offered a payout to delete the reposted video. I replied with 4 words, highest bidder gets it. Moments later, a link popped up. It was a compilation video, ex-fiance versus The Roommate, the ultimate power play. Set to a dramatic remix of Green Tea Out of Hollywood. The top comments? I need Emma Green to do a vlog. Teach us how to cut off cards. Repossess houses. And go viral. This is better than Netflix. I'm living. I smiled and rubbed my temples. This drama was going way better than I expected. And if they wanted a show, I'd give them one. One that ended with me on top. Chapter 5. The next morning, I arrived at the office as usual. The moment I stepped into the elevator, I overheard 2 interns whispering. Did you hear? Michael Robinson called PR yesterday, asking to meet Emma in person. He's seriously trying to come back? I heard he got dragged so hard on Twitter that he deleted his account. Someone even exposed that all his spending abroad came from Emma. Now he can't even afford public transit. Karma's real. They both looked up and saw me. Instantly, they shut up, wide-eyed like kids caught sneaking candy. As I exited the elevator, I said lightly, next time you gossip, remember the elevator has voice sensors. Both girls turned bright red and nodded frantically. Yes. Miss Green. I wasn't upset. In fact, letting the office grapevine do its thing was far more effective than any public statement I could make. Back at my desk, Lauren came rushing in. Emma. He's downstairs. Michael's at the lobby, refusing to leave. I looked up. What do you mean? Refusing? He says since he can't get on your calendar, he'll just wait in the lobby. Wants to speak face to face. He looks terrible. Exhausted and honestly, kind of pathetic. I walked over to the floor-to-ceiling window. From the 30th floor, I could see the glass roof of the lobby below. A man in a gray jacket sat there, looking completely out of place. Michael. His eyes were sunken, shirt wrinkled, pacing near the front desk with his phone in hand. Lauren asked, "Want me to call security?" I paused for a moment. "No. I'll go down." She blinked. "You're actually going to see him?" I gave a small smile. I want to know what role he thinks he's still playing. The elevator carried me to the ground floor. The moment he saw me, he froze. "Emma." His voice was hoarse. His eyes bloodshot. You've lost weight, I said, scanning him up and down. Nutrition issues abroad? Or does Sarah suck at cooking? He flinched. I'm not here to fight, he said quietly. Can we talk somewhere private? I stared at his face. Once familiar. Once loved. Now, it felt foreign. What's there to talk about? I know I messed up, he said, voice shaking. But you went too far. The cards, the condo, the job leads, all gone. My parents had to crash at my aunt's. My mom's been crying nonstop, asking why you suddenly turned on us. I raised an eyebrow. Turned? Don't you think your little roommate arrangement was the opening move? I never meant to hurt you, Michael. I cut in. This isn't revenge. This is accounting. He blinked. Your parents got green cards through my family's connections. Your first year of tuition overseas? My mother paid it. That Porsche you drove around? A tax write-off from my company's fleet. Each word was sharp, deliberate. You thought I didn't track anything because I loved you. You thought I didn't care because I was weak. I took a breath. But really, I just didn't think you were worth the time. And now? He asked, anger flashing. Now that you've calculated everything, are you happy? Very. I looked him in the eye. At least I finally see you for who you are. He clenched his fists. So there's really no chance? Not even a little room left for us? I smiled. Did you think of that when you were cozying up with your roommate? He opened his mouth to argue, but I lifted a hand to stop him. Michael, I said calmly, it's okay to make mistakes, but don't expect the world to clean them up for you. I'm not your mother. I won't baby you. You thought the path you were walking was paved by me, but it was my boundary line, and you crossed it. He fell silent, his eyes dull. I turned to leave, but a voice called out from behind. Yo! My sister can't even be bothered to curse you out. And you're still trying to crawl back? I looked over. Zara Weston, Zach's younger sister, stood at the entrance. Jeans, sneakers, no makeup, and still radiating presence. Who are you? Michael frowned. Her cousin, she said flatly. Don't think coming back gives you a second chance. We already cast someone new in this show. You can go beg for roles on Mars. Zara, I muttered. Don't stop me. She snapped. He went crying to my brother yesterday, begging for help. Called Emma his last resort. Please. He's not even worthy of a background cameo. Michael flushed bright red. You just want to humiliate me? No. I said. My voice calm again. This ending was written the day you climbed into someone else's bed. You should be grateful I'm still letting you leave with your pride. Without another word, I walked back toward the elevator. Zara followed, grinning. Sis, you were a queen back there. I didn't respond. But deep inside, something finally settled. A door closed. Quietly. Permanently. I wasn't looking back anymore. Chapter 6. It was 10 p.m. when I finished brewing a cup of red tea and saw the notification light blinking on my phone. Group chat message frowny face Emma. Looks like Sarah is panicking. I tapped the link they sent. It was a freshly leaked audio recording. Crystal clear quality, Sarah's voice. Crying into the phone, I'm not a homewrecker. He told me he and Emma were already over. That's the only reason I moved in. Now everyone's attacking me online. My agency's about to cancel my contract. I can't take this anymore. There were sobs in the background. Faint but performative. The video barely lasted 5 minutes. But it exploded across every platform. Trending under hashtag Sarah claims cyberbullying. Top comments. Okay, but cyberbullying isn't cool. Can't believe people are still going in on her. Emma. Say something. This silence is starting to feel heavy. Are we sure being roommates means she was a side chick? Let's not rush. I sipped my tea and smiled. PR had entered the chat. Sarah wasn't dumb. She knew if the public kept dragging her, her career would flatline. So now she was playing victim, trying to spin her narrative as the poor girl who got caught in a toxic love triangle. Too bad she forgot, I didn't win this with sympathy. I won with receipts. I called Lauren. Is the footage of her little visit to my place ready? Yep. Cleaned up and subtitled. High-res timestamp. Clear dialogue. Perfect. I said. Browsing my inbox. Send it anonymously to entertainment blogs. Don't include my name, but make sure the context lands hard. Understood. Then I opened my alt account on Twitter and uploaded the raw version of her showing up at my apartment. All faux sweet smiles and veiled threats. Subtitled. Of course. Caption. Don't cry on my doorstep. Save the acting for your next low-budget series. Within 20 minutes, the internet lost its collective mind. Are you kidding me? This girl is the queen of gaslightango. 1 minute she's at Emma's door taunting her. Next minute she's weeping about bullying? Pick a lane. Her memory must be as fake as her Chanel. Emma for president. That clapback was divine. And just like that, the keywords homewrecker, apartment ambush, and bedroom additions shot to the top of the trending list. While the heat peaked, a major gossip account dropped a bombshell. A certain actress, following recent scandal, has been dropped by multiple sponsors. Upcoming reality show appearances postponed. The blurred-out image? Clearly Sarah. That perfect little independent actress brand she spent years building? Gone in a single day. The next morning, Zara left me a voice memo, sounding way too cheery for 7 a.m. Yo. Sis. Just saw the news while working out. Sarah's in the hospital. Word is stress breakdown and a bad allergic reaction. She thinks a hospital visit will reset public opinion? She'd have better luck getting into acting school. Facts. Zara laughed. Her agency just released a statement. Sarah will take time off to rest and recover. All appearances suspended. Great. The sooner she disappears, the cleaner the industry becomes. After hanging up, I checked my inbox. A message from my fund's overseas branch had arrived. Michael Robinson's visa extension has been denied, due to frozen assets and lack of valid funding sources. He is advised to return to the United States. I opened the attached file. Sure enough, credit anomalies, tuition freezes, insufficient living expenses, all flagged under his name. That's the thing about the real world. You can cheat in love. You can lie in interviews. But without money, you're nobody. Just as I was shutting my laptop, the doorbell rang. I opened the door and blinked. It was Michael's mother. She wore an expensive trench coat, but her shoes were clearly worn out. Her expression was stiff, like she had swallowed a bitter pill. Emma, she said curtly. I'm here to talk rationally. I leaned against the doorframe. By all means. She entered, scanning my condo with a familiar sneer. Still as cold and sterile as ever in here. No wonder my son was drawn to someone warmer. I walked toward the kitchen. Water? Or would you prefer something to rinse out that attitude? She flinched, but forced herself into the chair. I'm here to make a proposal, she said. Let's be reasonable. Only if it's worth my time. Our family wasn't ungrateful. She insisted. The condo's gone. Fine. But the cards? Couldn't you unfreeze at least one? Michael's still studying. He needs a way to live. He has Sarah. I said. Unfazed. Isn't she the angel of cohabitation? Let her support him. She's out of the picture. I raised an eyebrow. So you knew. She hesitated, realizing she'd said too much. You don't have to be so vindictive, she said, trying to regain footing. Women shouldn't make it hard on other women. I set down my teacup slowly. You lived in my house, drank my tea, accepted my money, and called me family. But now you want me to show mercy to the woman who stole my fiance? Mrs. Robinson. That's not woman to woman. That's an insult. Her face turned red. She stood up sharply. You'll regret this. I smiled. Only regret? Not dumping your son sooner. She slammed the door behind her. I calmly wiped the spot where she had set her cup, like scrubbing something dirty off my table. Outside, the sunlight was bright. I dialed Zach. Let's move up the brand launch. He chuckled. Finally ready to go public? Yes, I said, staring at the skyline. I want the world to know I never needed anyone's permission to shine. I've always been the main character. Chapter 7. We scheduled the brand launch for Saturday evening at an upscale modern art gallery downtown. Originally, the event was meant to spotlight Ellen's new Elon Femme collection, but Zach suggested we go all in. Announce my dual role as both investor and creative lead. Tie it into my sudden online fame. Let the internet do what it does best, amplify the spectacle. I agreed. Partly because it was good business, but mostly because I wanted everyone to see exactly who won. That night, I stepped onto the red carpet in a sharply tailored white blazer dress. Hair swept up in a sleek ponytail. Heels clicking like a metronome. The paparazzi lenses followed my every step. Is that really her? Emma Green? The ex-fiance? She looks even better than the photos. I didn't pause. Didn't flinch. Just walked straight onto the stage. Under the spotlight, I took the mic from the host, smiled, and said clearly, "Good evening. I'm Emma Green. Tonight, I'm honored to meet you both as the designer and as the lead investor of Elon Femme." Thunderous applause. From the crowd, I saw Zara waving wildly at me from the side, forming hearts with her hands. A few industry peers nodded in approval, their eyes saying everything respect. And then, I spotted him. Back row. Dim light. Michael. Wearing a wrinkled shirt. Clearly trying to blend in. But he couldn't hide the guilt in his eyes. I didn't look twice. Because tonight, I wasn't there to perform for his gaze. After the speech, media interviews came flooding in backstage. Miss Green, care to comment on the recent drama with Sarah? My personal life is no longer up for discussion. I said smoothly. Tonight is about the brand. What about Michael Robinson? Will you be cutting all ties? I turned to the camera, voice steady. We were never truly tied. He just wouldn't let go. Gasps. Camera shutters clicked like machine guns. And now? I added with a soft smile. I'm officially removing him from my life's cast list. The next morning, that clip dominated every feed. Emma Green shuts down ex-fiancé in 5 words. Not in my cast list, chills. Classiest breakup in influencer history. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Brand deals. Magazine offers. Partnership pitches. It was like I'd gone from villain to heroine overnight. Even the parent company's executive board called to congratulate me. You didn't just launch a product. One of them said. You built a movement. As for Michael, word spread that he left the launch event with a face as gray as his credit report. He had hoped to use the event as a bridge, a public show of reconciliation. Maybe earn some goodwill. But I left no room. I handed him a verdict. Not a second chance. That evening, Lauren brought in a folder. Looking slightly hesitant. It's from Michael. He submitted a repayment proposal. Says he wants to return some of the money you spent on him, to give you closure. Inside were a few signed statements, a payment plan, and a modest cash deposit. I glanced through them. It wasn't much, but enough to tell he was serious. I'm rejecting it, I said simply. Tell him I don't accept take-backs. But he's worried you'll sue. He shouldn't fear lawsuits, I said coolly. He should fear becoming irrelevant. Lauren stared at me for a beat, then shook her head in awe. You've changed. No, I said, turning to the window. I just stopped pretending. A message popped up on my phone. Zach frowny face victory party tonight. You in? I replied frowny face one drink. That's it. He responded instantly frowny face you drink the bottle. I'll carry you out. I laughed. Zach was the kind of man who never made moves when I was vulnerable, and never stole the spotlight when I was strong. If I ever gave love another shot, it'd be with someone like him. That night, the party was held at a private garden villa. The lighting was warm, the champagne sweeter than usual. As soon as I walked in, Zara shrieked, Emma, you just went legendary tonight. Everyone's calling you the next Olivia Jacobs. Don't compare me to the queen of private equity, I said with a smile. She never laughs. Neither do you, but you're scarier. She winked. Thanks? I ruffled her hair and sat down, just as Zach handed me a glass of wine. This one's for ending a chapter. We clinked glasses. Then he handed me another. And this one's for starting a new one. I drank both. Around me were people I trusted. Underneath me was a path I built myself. And somewhere out there, Michael Robinson was probably realizing he didn't even deserve an invite. Chapter 8. After the celebration, I didn't go home. Instead, I headed up to my private office on the top floor of the company tower. It was nearly 11 p.m. The city humming quietly below like a well-oiled machine. Skyscraper lights blinked like stars. Calm. Cold. Brilliant. On my desk were 2 contracts. One for the co-investment agreement with Weston Group. The other, Confirmation That'll Femme, my own brand, had officially secured its first round of independent funding. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have dared imagine this. Back then, I pinned everything on love. I thought marrying a promising Ivy grad was the finish line. That if I just poured enough care, enough resources, enough of myself into someone, I'd get happiness in return. Stupid. My thoughts were interrupted by a soft knock. Lauren peeked in, holding a document with a strange expression. Emma, you need to see this. I took it from her hands. A printed screenshot of a trending headline. Sarah sues Emma Green for defamation, powerful backer revealed. Below was a blurry photo of me during the brand launch, paired with a courtroom filing and a clip from an old video. The worst part? They'd edited my voice from the confrontation, just one sentence played on loop. You like exposure? I'll give you some. Dark background. Ominous music. It was made to look like a villain monologue. I let out a laugh. Half disbelief. Half disgust. She's out of her mind. Not just her, Lauren said grimly. The filing lists a boutique overseas firm as co-plaintiff. We looked into it, it's the same firm that recently lost a controlling share to your mother's company during an acquisition. Ah. I nodded. So this isn't about Sarah. It's a power play. Exactly. They're using her to strike back. I sat down, unbothered. They still think I'm the polite little future daughter-in-law who played dumb and smiled at dinner tables? No. But they're betting on you being too careful to fight dirty. Well, I said calmly. They bet wrong. Tell legal to file a countersuit. And get PR on it. I want a clean, time-stamped timeline from start to finish. Freeze-frame the footage of her showing up at my door. Subtitle the whole thing. Mark the timestamps. Got it. And don't hold back. I added. Let's see who still wants to back her once the fire really starts. That night, we issued a formal statement online with 3 key pieces. 1. Surveillance footage showing Sarah showing up at my home uninvited. Clearly aggressive. 2. Screenshots proving my posts contained no defamatory language, just context and receipts. 3. A leaked request Sarah made. Through an internal connection. Begging to remove the trending video days earlier. Within 4 hours. The hashtag Sarah Files lawsuit was replaced with something much juicier. Hashtag Sarah exposed as backstabber. The tide turned instantly. Her comment sections flooded. Girl. You tried to play the victim after starting the fight? From homewrecker to courtroom clown. What's next? A memoir titled Oops. I Did It Again? This is why we say never bring a butter knife to a gunfight. Simultaneously. Her mysterious investor? They issued a public statement distancing themselves from her. We were unaware of the full context and do not support recent litigation decisions. Translation, they panicked. Lauren walked in again mid-afternoon. All handled. Legal has her case buried 6 feet under. Where's Sarah now? She moved in with her sister. She's officially off every casting list. Brand deals dead. Social media on fire. I gave a small nod. She should thank me. Huh? I helped her learn early. I said. Sipping my espresso. If you don't have leverage, don't start drama. Lauren stifled a laugh. Fair. That afternoon, I stopped by a local art gallery hosting a show I'd sponsored. The theme was reconstruction. One piece caught my eye, a woman's silhouette. Cracked but reassembled with golden thread. Standing tall in a storm. The artist had handwritten a note under the frame. Asterisk, she wasn't fixing herself. She was rebuilding the whole damn world. Asterisk. I stared at it for a long while. Once. I thought starting over meant digging myself out of the ruins of a failed relationship. Now I knew better. Starting over isn't about salvaging the old. It's about creating something new, with no apologies. Chapter 9. 3 days later. The Westons invited my mother and me to dinner, formally, to discuss next phase strategic cooperation. But we all knew what this dinner really was about. Meeting the man behind the empire. Zach's father. The head of Weston Group. A legend in business circles. Ruthless. Calculated. Impossible to impress. From the moment I sat down at that long mahogany dining table, I could feel his gaze, sharp, silent, assessing, not looking at me like a person, but like a potential acquisition. Only once the food was served did he finally speak. Emma, he said, voice calm but firm. I've been following everything lately. I gave him a courteous smile. Appreciate your interest. You handled the Robinson situation well. He said. That family needed to be put in their place. My mother, seated next to me, frowned slightly. Mr. Weston. I thought this was a business dinner, not a postmortem on my daughter's personal life. He turned to her with a polite nod. Of course. But business and family often go hand in hand. Don't they? Then he looked straight at me. What do you think of Zach? The question was so blunt it froze the air. Zach, sitting across from me, said nothing. Just sipped his wine and waited. I took a breath, carefully choosing my response. Are you asking about his professional value? Or both? He said flatly. You two have been working closely. You've got chemistry. And our families, well, they already mix. I didn't blink. Zach is a smart and capable partner. Just a partner? I smiled. At the moment, yes. But I'm not closed off to the idea of possibility. He narrowed his eyes, measuring my tone. The language. The distance. Then he laughed and raised his glass. Smart. You're not like your father. My mother's hand stiffened on her fork. With respect. She said coldly. My husband may not be a corporate wolf, But he's twice the man most of your board is. Of course. Weston Sr. waved it off. No offense intended. But there was no apology either. I just think. He added. Eyes still on me. If your family and ours were to align more permanently, we could build something remarkable. And there it was. Not a business dinner. A proposal meeting. On the drive back, I sat quietly in the back seat. Eyes closed. Letting the night blur past the windows. Zach was driving. He glanced at me now and then. You okay? He finally asked. I'm fine. I replied without opening my eyes. Your dad's a strategist. I expected it. You didn't seem surprised when he suggested marriage as a merger? I gave a soft chuckle. It's practically textbook. He didn't speak again for a while. Just kept driving. One hand on the wheel. The other fiddling with the stereo. Eventually, he asked, So, are you actually considering it? I turned to look at him. Zach Weston. Steady. Loyal. Powerful. The kind of man who doesn't need to talk about protecting you, he just does. We've known each other our whole lives. He said. I'm not Michael. I won't take from you. Won't lie to you. Won't embarrass you. He wasn't pleading. He was stating facts. I don't want you to carry everything alone. He said quietly. Let me help you carry something. And for the first time in a very long time, something in my chest softened. But I didn't say yes. Not yet. I'm not afraid of love. I said. I just don't believe in handing my life to someone who hasn't earned it. He nodded. No pushback. No pressure. Just reached over and gently took my hand where it rested on my lap. I didn't pull away. It wasn't the start of a romance. It was the clean closure of an old one. When I got home, 2 messages were waiting on my phone. Michael has officially returned to the U.S. His visa expired. Bank records still frozen. No new offers received. Sarah has signed contract termination documents. All her upcoming projects have been pulled. It was done. Everything. No strings left to cut. I set my phone down and walked to the balcony. Below me, the city buzzed with light. So many windows. So many lives. Once upon a time, Michael had given me a ring, platinum, with a tiny diamond that caught the light but held no warmth. It's still somewhere in a drawer, buried under files. Dusty. Forgotten. Because now I knew. I didn't need a ring to be valuable. I am the value. Chapter 10. 1 month later. My face appeared on the cover of one of the top financial magazines in the country. The headline read, She didn't just return, she took the throne. ****. The featured photo was from Thielen Femme Launch, me in a white suit. Backlit by a halo of spotlights and applause. A woman not in recovery, but in full command. The moment the magazine dropped, it went viral. Now this is how you do revenge. No tears. No drama. Just brutal, elegant execution. She didn't break the rules. She rewrote them. I dropped the issue on my office desk, turned to the floor-to-ceiling window, and let myself breathe for a moment. In the past month, everything had changed. Elon Femme's revenue had doubled. Pre-orders were sold out within days. Our brand had broken through into international markets for the first time. And me? For the first time in my career, I was no one's fiance. No one's daughter. No one's second. Just Emma Green. 2 p.m. Lauren knocked on my office door. You've got a few documents that need your signature. I signed them quickly. Then she paused. There's someone downstairs. I raised an eyebrow. Michael. He said he won't make a scene. Just wants to see you. One last time. I exhaled. What's he doing back in the country? Visa expired. School won't extend him. No job offers. Word is, he's been blacklisted. Where is he now? Corner cafe across the street. I stood up without a second thought. Let's end this properly. He was sitting at a small table by the window, in an ill-fitting department store suit and scuffed-up shoes. Hair unkempt. Eyes tired. He looked like someone life had chewed up and spat out. I sat across from him, calm and quiet. He looked up and whispered, "You came. What do you want?" He stared at me like he was trying to find some piece of the past. Are you really never going to forgive me? It's not about forgiveness, I said. It's that I simply don't care anymore. His shoulders slumped. I was just greedy. I thought you'd never leave. That you'd always be there. So that gave you permission to betray me? No, he faltered. I didn't think I'd lose everything. You didn't lose everything. I corrected. You just lost *me star. He looked devastated. Do you have someone else now? I met his eyes. Yes. I love myself. That answer hit him harder than any slap. I stood up, reached into my bag, and dropped something on the table. A bill and a business card. Coffee's on me. And here, I said. That card's for a staffing firm we own. If you pass the trial period, you stay. If not, you're out. No favors. He stared. You'd give me a job? I'm not doing it for you. I said coldly. I want you to watch me rise from where you can't even reach. He didn't reply. Just clutched the card with trembling fingers. I walked out without looking back. Like closing an old journal for the last time. 1 week later, I received a package. Inside was a small, velvet ring box. The same engagement ring he once gave me, tiny diamond. All shine and no soul. A folded note lay underneath. 5 words. Scribbled hastily. I'm sorry. Emma Green. ****. I closed the box and fed it straight into the shredder. The ring. The past. The apology, all reduced to dust. My phone buzzed. Emma! Congrats! Elon just sold out in North America too. Lauren's voice rang with joy. Should we set up pop-ups? Yes. I said, grabbing my bag. Start the rollout. And book a trip. Bring the whole team. Zach too. You got it. I slipped on my heels and stepped into the elevator. As the doors slid shut, I caught my reflection in the mirror. Clean lines. Clear eyes. Unshakable poise. I wasn't a man's accessory. I wasn't a placeholder. I was Emma Green. And from this day forward, I shine for no one but myself. The end.